Welcome to Affirmation Art Journal number 14. We are almost halfway through. And today's affirmation is, I create work that fills me and others with joy. I create work that fills me and others with joy. And reading and communicating to subscribers, and welcome if you are just found this channel and my affirmation art journaling as well as the abstract art journaling pages. You have mentioned that you sort of miss my commentary, and I sort of do as well. So I will leave the list of colors that I've chosen for this palette, for this art journaling page, and the first one was turquoise blue, light blue, Naples yellow hue, quinacridone magenta, that was just unbleached titanium, and this transparent mixing white. I just discovered this. I didn't know they had this by Liquitex. I'm just discovering how to use it, and it's interesting because it takes time. It takes me time anyway, with this particular process. This is an intuitive process, so I'm not really worrying or thinking about this particular page for this particular purpose. That's in my other work, which is soon to come. I have a new series of 10 and smaller works and more coming. I will be recording and demonstrating how I go about the journey of a larger painting. So as you can see, I just like to use pencil, and sometimes I like to overlap the writing because then it creates some really neat lines that you can see in the end, but just barely. So I'm trying to use different tools, and so I place them near me before I start. That's an intention. So then I can just grab it, and I'll start learning more about my mark making. And I have, if any of you do this on a daily basis, really, I think it takes about anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes to do a page. And I've done them in 10 minutes, where you force yourself to do it quickly so you're not thinking. So you're really putting that thinking to a halt and just reacting. So while I'm thinking of value, intensity of hue, of course, light and dark. The intensity of hue is saturation, and the light and dark, so that's why I chose the light blue. I was going to use Payne's Gray, and that's in the next page. That'll be in tomorrow's page, where it's really, I love this play of this dark blue and this luminosity thing happening. So as you can see, I end up quartering out this page into 4 sections, and that's a really, really good way. They can be any size. It's like you're using like a cruciform kind of thing, which is in quadrants. And then see that white, and I'm just using it alone, and it is way more transparent. I didn't have to add any medium to it, but if I did, and then it goes on smoothly without being chalky. This is a great paint. So Liquitex transparent mixing white. And here are some collage papers. I was thinking I wanted to do a purpley blue, towards the red, and that's why I chose quinacridone magenta. There's quinacridone red. There's different. And these are by Golden. This isn't the Golden one, but wow, those are the reds. As you've noticed, are very expensive, probably because of the mineral and all of that stuff. So starting dark to light, and as I finished the page yesterday, which you'll see this one is very different. It's a lot more loose I'm trying to think more paint marks and use acrylic in a balanced way, but then again, I'm not doing, that's about as far as I go with my thinking, and then I just want to let go and just have fun and let things happen. So leave a comment below if this is a thing that you've been been struggling with, want to know more, and my advice to you is to just keep going on a daily basis. So you probably saw the light blue circles here. This is on a cardstock, so it's a little thicker, and that's really interesting too, because it's direct cover. If you don't like anything, a nice piece of collage works really well. Even a translucent piece of collage, that would be on tissue paper, deli paper, or tracing paper. I've got to make some more on some tracing paper. Stay tuned for this week's Studio Sunday coming up. I'm going to be sharing what I do with my leftover. It's just a quick little tip. These are just quick tips. So if you have not joined my Facebook group, please check it out. The link is in the description below the video. And I'm having fun mixing the magenta with this. Now this is Naples yellow hue. This is not the yellow ochre. It's a lot lighter. My initial thought was mostly blue with a hero color, we'll say, shining through. And I'm sort of playing, I didn't know, I have a hard time choosing. Do I want it to be the yellow or this really beautiful magenta? So this circles, spheres, whatever you want to call them, the pattern of circles throughout is really in my mind, and I liked that better because it's closer. It wasn't just staring at you. And then of course using oil pastel. Now we're not worried about sealing oil pastel on these pages, but if you are, you just use a soft gel, not a heavy gel like I use to adhere the collage to the work. Using a soft gel and just go over the pastel, follow the lines as well as you can with a brush. It can be a small brush, medium brush, and you put a layer on top, and then it seals the oil pastel, which would then turn out much differently if you were working on a cradle board, or I call it a birch panel. And I'm liking that you can sand the birch panels. That was this latest series that I just finished, and I'll be revealing that and some tips. And thinking circles, I guess I grabbed this one, and I'm not really sure that I like it, but that's besides the point. You know, you have to keep trying things. You're not always going to like them. Because I was using those other Stencil Girl stencils in my affirmation art journaling pages a little too much, so I wanted to try something different. So we're repeating the circle theme throughout this page, and as you can see, this page is just very loose, and it has a different feel. And getting those edges really nice and trimmed down using my X-Acto knife. And let me know in the comments below if you've been playing with different colors, different palettes, maybe even the palettes that I'm using and listing in the video description. And don't forget, if you don't have a quinacridone magenta, use a cooler red rather than a warmer red. I think alizarin crimson is sort of right in the middle there. I think it's cooler than warmer, any sort of cherry red or whatever, you know. And if you're not feeling like spending the money on these acrylic paints, you can buy sets. I'm in Ontario, so we have Curry's and Michael's, or ordering on Amazon. You can buy sets of little testers. You can use the craft paint for your journaling pages. Why not? I have in the past, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I like to actually use those. Have a set that I use for my journaling pages and save my really good stuff for my large canvases or larger work. So, pausing here. So when you're pausing, then you head towards too much thinking, and then I try to just dive right back in. So I found this sort of a peachy color, which is bringing out the peachiness of that mix of quinacridone magenta and Naples yellow hue below it. And I like how I love putting another layer on top and then scratching through. It really, really adds. The blue polka dots are just a polka dot stencil on the deli paper. This would also work on tissue paper, tracing paper, or any type of transparent paper. And you can see the blue underneath, which I really like. Now I don't leave this, I didn't like how it was staring at me. So it needed to the contrast was too high for that upper area. And I do end up at the end, where I think I'm finished. I do this twice for this page, so stay to the end. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content, especially on a daily basis. Share it with your friends. And if you have just found this channel, I would love to hear how. Is it just the links? Is the algorithm for YouTube changing and working as I add a new video every day? And so I would be very interested to hear that. So I end up putting, I think in hindsight, just a white or something a little more simple would have worked here, but I like to just mix up the colors, but I'm leaving it in a lighter value. And instead of putting it in the middle, I would have moved it over a little more to the left, just for that balance. But I don't think it really makes that much difference. And for these pages, remember, we're not really overly worried. It's the exploration. We're exploring, we're using it for self-care. It's all about the affirmation and the feeling of doing this page with that thought of those words. And believe me, words have more power than we know, than we realize. So I'm going to repeat this affirmation again. I create work that fills me and others with joy. And just thinking about those words, making them resonate while you're creating your page. Writing notes on that opposite page where I write the affirmation, your colors, how you felt, any connections, recollections. It's great because when you come back to it, it's like, oh, wow. You know? See, scratching through. And I just thought, okay, I love this purpley blue, or towards the cooler blue, so I just need some more. And that was too pink. And I'm grabbing a whole bunch of papers and just placing them near the page, so if anything grabs me, I'll use it. So I end up using on the upper right-hand side, oh, there's that one. That's a image from a magazine of a purple sky that I just took it out. So go through old magazines. Oh, I did hit my bookstore yesterday. Oh, it was so good. Down in the basement where all the old books are. So I will share some of those. What a great video, right? sharing how to use text in my work. Any more things that you want me to share, any new videos that you would like me to demonstrate, please leave a comment. As you can see, I replied to all of them. So now, after putting that piece of purple magazine in there, notice how it made the turquoise just show a little bit more through association. And I chose the dark blue Posca marker. I wish, purple would have been okay, but it's a little strong. So you could, I could have washed over it. And that's sort of a very light orange. Didn't do anything, but it did emphasize the horizontal lines, putting a few more dots. Pastel China marker that I use, a white China marker, would also look good. And I'm just making it more scratchy and spontaneous. This page is really, really loose. I really like it. But I do have one more thing to add at the end. So now I'm starting to take the tape off. Still giving me a hard time. This little hair dryer is great, but it doesn't get as hot as my, a regular larger size hair dryer, the temperature. So it takes longer to heat up the tape. So, but it's the one, I just wanted a cheap one just for doing my art journaling. Oh, there we go. Probably because I didn't hold it at a 45-degree angle while tearing. That's my guess now, anyway. So what I do put a little bit of the gloss gel, the fluid. I just use the brush and go along. And it does help, but sometimes I still need to heat the tape to get a clean removal of the tape at the end. So it's just still missing. And I see now while I'm looking at it, I'm glad I did take the time to add this piece at the end. And I can see the piece there on the left. At least I think that's what it is. So it's just too empty on the right. And empty isn't the word that I'm looking for. It's too much, it's not different enough from the quadrant on the left with the circle in it. And it didn't need a dark, it needed a light. So that's the spot I'm talking about, but that's the wrong color. Oh yeah. So that neutral, I'm definitely thinking about that. Yeah, that's it exactly. So I'm just lining it up. So I want a nice clean edge. A little more purple would be okay, but I find something better. Oh no, I do put this in, and then I find something else to put over it. Yes, some text, which is out of a magazine, which is a nice, beautiful, oh, this is what happened. Yes. So I turn it over and go, wow, that's way better than the other side. And I love that when that happens. Okay, so it needs less purple, more just with some marks. Love it, love it. So the edge is coming down a bit too far because I want a nice clean line going across of that muddy kind of interesting mix. And then there's one more piece of collage that I finally decide, and it's just in my stash, in my little basket. So I have one on the left, which is past that stack of collage paper, and I decided to write the affirmation right on it. And I think a lighter blue would have been better, but I just didn't have that. I only have a limited Posca marker set. More of a pastel might have worked. Even white China marker would have worked. Okay, so that's in there. And then I think I'm done was going to put that, yeah, I was going to put those there. You see, now the eye is coming down. Just emphasizing the warm and cool, the contrasting, the violet and the yellows of complementary colors. And that just, yeah. So I think I'm done. Nope, not quite. There's this little bit of text. I always read the text too, if it relates. Sometimes I do, sometimes it doesn't matter because I'm going to paint over it anyway. It's just, but this was from I think some kind of science magazine, and it's all about the universe and whatever, and I love that stuff. So I love the color, and it just adds this little bit, and I just love putting just a little bit of text. And then with the trimmings, I have this in some of my larger works where I have a bunch of rectilinear shapes floating in space or on a flat background, different sizes, and I just love the feeling with the difference is the sharp-edged geometric shape against a very lucid atmospheric background. I really, really love that. I'm looking at my large painting right now, and that's going to need some changes, so there's another video coming up, how to rework a painting. Okay, so there it is, affirmation number 14. I hope you enjoyed it. Very different. Please leave your comments, like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for affirmation number 15.